Flight boss, bitch. For sure. You're now listening to the Mind Heaven and Terry's Moon. I'm the Archangel Uriel, and I'm here to carry out God duties and motherfucking responsibilities. And right now, we're going to talk about the $30 Flight Merry Christmas Spiritual Test update right now. Now, I'm going to have to keep it real. Nobody got the full 7 of them right. And you know what I'm saying? I'd be lying to myself if I was to be like, well, I'm going to just give it to the person who got 6 right and things of that nature. But all y'all are very smart, because here's what actually happened. And here's what I did learn. There were a lot of people who may have got Judaism, Zoroastrianism, Hinduism, Buddhism. They may have got those right, but then they may have got the other ones wrong. And then there was a group of other people that may have got Islam, Christianity, Taoism, Jainism. Y'all might have got that right, but then y'all have got the other ones wrong. You know what I'm saying? And then I had got a bunch of analogies and scriptures and paragraphs. So I told y'all to narrow it down to an energy signature, or a planet or a star. And I even try to give y'all the benefit of the doubt, because we didn't even have to use the same words. For an example, for everybody who described Shinto as the worship of the moon, I would have still said that was right, even if I didn't even use that word. See, what I used was the past or water. You see what I'm saying? Now, because they dealing with bringing the past civilization and seeing how it correlates with their civilization today. So that's going into the past. And like I said, the past is the remnants of water, Akashic records, or memory. So if that's what they worship, then if you would have said the moon, I would have said that would have been right also. Because your moon is your lightest cloth, your first Merkaba, your feminine body that you created for yourself. So it's your Merkaba, it's your moon, it's your womb. So it's your water. You see what I'm saying? So for the most part, it allows you to tap you into what you actually came from, to know where you actually going. Your memory bank, your umbilical cord. So I even try to give y'all the benefit of the doubt. But all y'all had motherfucking beautiful motherfucking answers. And they're right in a realm of reality. But for the most part, for narrowing it down, you know what I'm saying, this is how I had to come to the conclusion. So, but like I said, one of y'all gonna win this $30 one way or a motherfucking another. So I'm gonna go live tonight, and we're gonna do another motherfucking test, or something else that we can all spiritually get into that's fun, or something like that we could present that someone still could win. You know what I'm saying? This motherfucking $30. But for the most part, nobody won this one right here. But today the challenge is we're going to do another one. We're going to go live tonight. But right now we're going to break down the motherfucking answers. So this is the motherfucking answers right now. So let's break down. And I want to say this also. There was a group of ones that everybody automatically got right, which was Islam, Christianity, Taoism, and Hinduism. Those 4, everybody automatically got right. You see what I'm saying? But for the most part, once it started getting tricky. Once we started to reach the area of people getting 5 right, people getting 6 right, and then people getting 7 right. You see what I'm saying? So for the most part, let's break this down. Now, Islam. Now you can look at the symbol itself, right? Or you could kind of just look at their rituals or their spiritual practices. And once you look at what they're actually doing, you know that it's back to supported by the moon transition. And once you understand the moon transition, then you be like, okay, goddamn, this is what Ramadan is all about. Ramadan is all about the traveling of the moon. This is why Ramadan positioning is different. Is different every year because of the moon and the full moons and the new moons, and then the dates that they fall on. So you know what I'm saying? A lot of Muslims or Islamic people may not even know that. They may just be going based upon tradition, aka lost in the light, language, words, gas, or person, or a spirit that's in a person, in a being, and just gave them this type of rationality to make them think that they're doing the right thing. So a lot of times spirits be knowing what they're doing subconsciously, but a lot of times they give out information based upon their own perspective, being their own philosophical points of views of things. So for the most part, they may give half truths. It be the truth mixed and mingled with their own belief, aka their own lie. So you have to understand this is how the world be getting made and shit like that, and this is how we in this collective conscious. But this is what my channel is about, the subconscious community. Shout y'all out, my motherfucking soul group. But to blend this shit together, you need to understand that the root cause of it is just them worshiping the moon, and they're worshiping the moon travel. So this is what this is what they base their Ramadan on, and this is where they base their prayers on and things of that nature, based upon the correlation of the day. You see what I'm saying? And then the actual moon phases that makes them feel throughout the day. You see what I'm saying? And so they pray to those energy signatures, which makes a phi, to anchor the four energies in, which is fire, water, air, earth. But it brings those in, and did it anchor it as into a daughter of men, or a son of God, or whatever the fuck y'all want to call it, or a moon, or whatever. Like I said, at the end of the day, it's back to supported by the moon. See what I'm saying? However you want to kick it. Now, Christianity. Everybody. All right, now Christianity. Now everybody got that right also. Christianity represents the goddamn sun. So, that's controlling your goddamn calendars, your 24-hour system, you know what I'm saying, what you're consciously aware of, and things of that nature, what's being created in front of you today. An actual theology that everybody is going towards in some sense in this realm of reality to a small degree. You know what I'm saying? Whether you choose to like it or not, when you go outside or when you go and relate yourself into the world, the realm that's being created in front of you is based upon a theology that's coming from the information of the sun. So don't ever give all the credit to see, that's another thing. That's what I'm trying to let people understand too. When you truly understand astrology, you cannot give power to a goddamn man or woman. You can only see them as being a motherfucking anchoring or filtering from an influence, and this influence is coming from a greater source, and this greater source is when we look at the stars and planets above you. So don't think that these planets or these stars is not carrying a certain information that allows that information to influence through you, and then you transfer it and put it out in your own kind of way. But you didn't come up with that shit in the first place. So that's what you need to understand. That shit is coming from another body of water, from another current system. So you need to understand that. So when we talk about the sun, from even a small degree, you know what I'm saying, even atheists, you still correlated to having that idea from the goddamn sun. So when we talk about Christianity, right now, this is the ruler idea and conscious idea or imagination or concept that's actually going amongst the realm of reality right now. So if you would have said the sun, you're right. Even if you would have said man, you would have been right. Because here's the thing. When we talk about the sun is a representation of a fourth, fifth, and sixth dimensional man. Where in the third dimension, we can only perceive it as intellect, as calling it the masculine energy or a greater masculine force. So for the most part, when we talk about the son of God or the daughters of men, you see what I'm saying? You need to understand that the son of God is just a fourth, fifth, and sixth dimensional masculine energy, and the daughters of men is the 1, 2, and third dimensional version of a physical shape and form that got made out of air and earth. You know what I'm saying? This is why a female takes in spaceships, which is fire, water, and air. You know what I'm saying? And then she consoles it in her earth. This is why earth is the feminine energy. You know what I'm saying? And it's the left brain feminine energy, so it can make a physical shape and form be external. So this is what women do as far as down here, but I'm talking about as far as the feminine energy. But when we talk about the daughters of men, this is the shapes and forms that's being created out of the feminine energy from a masculine shape and form. Now, a masculine shape and form is an entity already. That means it's a person that got a spirit in it. They got a spirit in it. So it's not only the sons of God, but you got the feminine energy also. You have the daughters of God. You see what I'm saying? And that's the energy that y'all try to disclose, because you get the son of gods, which is a spirit that's jumping into a fourth, fifth, and sixth dimensional masculine being, and which will be a sun or a masculine version of a star, and try to eradicate the feminine energies. So y'all start to hate beings like Lilith, or start to hate beings like that's correlated with the feminine energy, as far as like Gaia, Tiamat, or you know what I'm saying, water Nagas, mermaids. You know what I'm saying? Anything that's dealing with the dark feminine energy and things of that nature, you try to run away from that because you're trying to run towards a light, aka a logic or a spaceship, or something that you could kind of be lost into yourself and create that for your own instincts. But once you lose that aspect, you start to hate the feminine energy in some way, shape, or form, and it'll play out in many lost indoctrinations in the third dimension in many small ways. You know what I'm saying? But at the root of it, Christianity represents the sun. So you need to know the son of God or the daughters of God, whatever like that. That would be like the suns and the moons and shit like that, spirits in those bodies. And the daughters of men is the since by default, like for an example, the moon, Venus, Neptune, those are feminine vehicles, right? But by nature, it's solid. You can see it. So it's part of the yang, it's part of the conscious, it's part of the energy force, it's part of energy. It's not part of the frequency vibration no more. So by default, by it being a shape and form, it's masculine by default. It's part of the yang realm by default. You can see it. Now, the representation of it and the spirit that's in it, controlling it, can help you decipher the energy signature behind it. Can help you decipher the characteristics of it. And then that's when you can decipher, okay, if it's a feminine or a masculine characteristics in this motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? So that's how we can know that it's a spirit that's playing out, that like to play out the moon. You know what I'm saying? Spirits have no nature. There's no thing, no shape and form. You see what I'm saying? But it goes into the shape and form that it resonate with. You see what I'm saying? So you have certain spirits that come into feminine bodies. You have certain spirits that come into masculine bodies, or bodies that can represent that energy. But if it's a body, shape, and form in general, by default, it's the second coming. It's a day. It's a moon. It's a masculine. You see what I'm saying? So that's what you have to keep in mind. See, by default, the fourth, fifth, and sixth dimensional realm is feminine. By default, the third dimensional realm is masculine. It's part of the yang. So you're a woman here, but by default, we're all, I ain't gonna say we're all, but you can look at it like mankind or things of that nature. But y'all need to think about it like y'all say mankind, but man is all man. So y'all want to call yourselves human, but color, colorful, hue, color. But hue is just another frequency vibration of hue, woo, moon. So woman, human, moon man. You know what I'm saying? Moon man, y'all spirits came through the goddamn moon and created shapes and forms to come down here. But let's not get lost, because I'm end up making them a goddamn video when I'm supposed to be announcing the goddamn answers. So Christianity, yeah, if you said man or if you said sun, the sun, you was actually right. Taoism, right? Now, if you said balance, you was right, because that's not even the words I used. What I used was the masculine and feminine energy. But if you was to say balance, I would have still said you was right. But you still have to understand, if you would have listened to the words clearly, you know that the masculine and feminine is separate. So just by saying balance is still slightly wrong, but I would have still gave you the benefit of the doubt. You know what I'm saying? Because it's still back to supported by the same energy signature. Anytime you're fucking around with the masculine and the feminine, you're going closer to the direction of creating balance in some way, shape, or form. But just in general, Taoism, they worship the masculine and feminine energy. So it may be certain rituals that they do that's just correlated to masculine at times, and it might be certain energies that they do that just may be purely correlated with the feminine. It ain't pure unity like motherfucking Hinduism, but we're gonna get there. You know what I'm saying? So Taoism is the masculine and feminine energy, right? That would be the energy signature that they worship. Jainism, the energy signature that they worship is the jinn, the sin, the sacrifice, the body. So they worship the flesh. You know what I'm saying? They worship the spirit getting lost in the light. The light is the flesh. So you see what I'm saying? Your spirit is always in the dark. So if anytime you try to say you found the light, you found another lostness and things of that nature, or you found another map, and that map is someone else's sense of direction. But what you need to understand is when we talk about Jainism, yeah, they worship either the jinn, the sin. You need to know the sin is blasphemy. Anytime you down yourself or go against yourself in some way, shape, or form, you're going against your own spiritual God nature. So for the most part, you're that's the jinn. You're guilty about something, or the sin, or you're sacrificing yourself about something, aka creating a limitation or a bondage that refutes you from a spiritual experience that you may need to experience. But for the most part, you create a limitation to actually put yourself through that. So you sacrifice yourself from that experience in some way, shape, or form, based upon a moral system or whatever you have been lost into. But this is what Jainism worship. They worship these kind of concepts. They worship sacrificing something. They worship the body. You know what I'm saying? Your body, you had to sacrifice your spiritual freedom in order to sustain yourself into this vibration of this level of belief, this lie. So keep that in mind. Now, Confucianism. Now, if you was to say man in this one also, which is not my words, but if you was to say man in this one also, I would have said you was right. A lot of y'all got this right. You see what I'm saying? Now, this is the seasons. You see what I'm saying? The seasons. So it's dealing with change. So it's dealing with change and things of that nature. Now I've seen a lot of people say Uranus, but Uranus is dealing with uniqueness and originality also. So you know what I'm saying is Confucianism is not all the way uniqueness and originality. And also, if y'all was to even just look at the words confuse and con, that's constellation. So we know confusion is fusion of things. That's the transition. You know what I'm saying? Confucianism. So that's the fusion. That's the transition. Constellations. That's what they do. And the transition. So when you experience that on the ongoing earth right now, what you're witnessing is them worshiping the seasons, or worshiping man, aka a man ability to change, or a man ability to relate, or they worship what makes a man man. see what I'm saying? So keep that in mind. So it's going to be a bunch of man-like natures or human natures, and we stay in a zodiac wheel. So we stay in a chakra wheel of a being, of a living being in the fourth, fifth, and sixth dimension. And we stay in its lower natures, which is its animalistic natures. So for the most part, learning its lower animalistic ways and its egos and things of that nature is how a man learn what man is man and what makes a man man and things of that nature. So at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how you try to ring around it. You know what I'm saying? Don't get confused with Confucianism. It represents the seasons or man. You know what I'm saying? Or the relationship of man. Like I said, woman, period. Human. Now, Shinto. Shinto. Now, if you would have said the moon, which I've seen a lot of people say that, you would have got that right also. Now, so when we say Shinto, this is the past waters. You see what I'm saying? I like to say it's the past or the waters. Because remind you, when we think about Shintos, when we think about the civilization, this is a civilization that like to look at past. They like to look at their past ancestors or their past groundings or their past rituals or the past people that once walked amongst their land. And they like to see how it relates to their civilization of today. How they're walking amongst today. Whatever civilization created Shintos. So that's let you know that they're going within the past. And what does the past represent? The past represents your waters. You know what I'm saying? It represents your waters. So once you get into your waters, right, it's tapping you into your Akashic records, your memory, your ancestors, your umbilical cord, whatever that's going to tap you into, helping you understand what have happened so you can develop what can happen now or what you can prevent from happening now. You see what I'm saying? So that's what they all about. So they're all about tradition. So they're all about water or the past. So even if you would have said the moon is a physical shape and form of the lightest cloth that you have created for yourself, and it's tied to the feminine energy also. So it's related to the feminine energy, and it's related to the water, and it's related to the vibration, and it's related to movement and motion and movie. So it's also, I would have said you were still right, even if we didn't use the same word, but we can still say at the root cause of it, it's the past or the waters. And that's what Shintos worship, the past or the water. In some way, shape, or form, can't get around it. Buddhism, right? Now, Buddhism, this is what you need to understand also. Now, Buddhism worship nothing. And what you need to understand is, what is nothing? No thing. And what is no thing? No shape and form. And what do I teach? What is that at the root cause? What is that? Damn, I keep running out of space in this motherfucker. Now, what do I say? That's motherfucker the spirit. Now, that's your spirit is no thing. So Buddhism, at the root cause of everything, it worships the spirit and your own spiritual nature. And it's trying to understand that you're no thing. So it doesn't worship anything that's external out of itself. So understand that it can kind of portray all those things and jump into those things and play out those characteristics. But at the end of the day, Buddhism practices worship of the spirit, which is worshiping no thing, right? So for the most part, this is where a lot of religious people get fucked up, and this is where a lot of scientists get fucked up. But for the most part, you need to understand that everything did come from no thing. I ain't say nothing. I said no thing. Motherfucker. Now, Zoroastrianism, right? Now, this was another one that everybody kind of got right also. Spells against demons. So that's at the root cause. That's what they worship. They worship spells. They worship spells against demons. So they worship demons and they worship spells. So even if you would have used the words magic, I seen a few people use the word magic. I would have said you got that right. You see what I'm saying? So, Zoroastrianism, they worship spells. So they're only concerned about spells. So for the most part, they're in search for an oppressor or a demon. So, you know what I'm saying? 9 times out of 10, they create their own demons anyway. So this is why they're in the energies that they're in the first place. So Zoroastrianism, I don't even really recommend that one. But for the most part, that's what you need to understand. These motherfuckers worship the spell against demons. So any kind of spell that could be against a demon, and then we have to get into why we're calling demons what is demon and whatever like that, because the demon is just another word for a body, and for the most part, they're sitting there creating spells against the body, so they're creating limitations amongst themselves and things of that nature. So what kind of hell cell or jail cell that they putting themselves into is with Zoroastrianism. You kind of slashing yourself with that Z with Zorro and shit, dealing with them. Now Judaism, right? Now a lot if you said rulership, you would have got that right. Now, an absolute ruler, though. absolute ruler. That's what Judaism represents. Absolute ruler. You know what I'm saying? Absolute ruler, period. So this is me, absolute ruler and authority. And that's what they worship. So this is what y'all need to understand. Like, a lot of y'all may be lost into the logic and to what y'all have been taught what these things mean. These are just other people's philosophical points of views of things. And you might even sit back and look at me like, okay, this is your own philosophical point of view of things. But you need to understand, look, I'm Archangel Uriel. This is subconscious community, right? So I'm only telling you where things is derived from. So whether you want to say it's my own philosophical point of view, okay, but I bet you can't find another perception around it. So at that point, it's not philosophy anymore. It just is what it is. So this is what I mean by that. When I say absolute power, before you get lost into saying, oh, Judaism, this is the person that we're saying who got absolute power. Or no, this is what we mean by absolute power. Or this is what we mean. At the root cause of it, let's just look at you just worship absolute power. So it doesn't matter what kind of characteristics or what shape and form that energy signature of absolute power comes into. In this civilization, it may come in the form of y'all worshiping a deity or a god that y'all can't see. In another fashion, it may come into a government. In another fashion, it may come into like a system or a lodge where everybody have to correlate with each other and reach a certain position. You know what I'm saying? But in some way, shape, and form, whoever got the absolute power, that's what y'all gonna worship. And y'all in a fight for positioning. So whether it comes into y'all concepts, feelings and emotions, or into the physical flesh that I see y'all do every day as far as ritualistic. It doesn't matter. So whether you want to give me a scripture of what Judaism represent, or whether you want to give me a whole history of what a whole line of people been doing. As Archangel Uriel, I'm just going to sit back and be like, y'all just a group of spirits that worship the energy signature of absolute power. I don't give a fuck how it look, how it's read, what wording, what star that's directing y'all straight to that, the energy that y'all actually getting it from, that y'all could point to, and it ain't been diluted by all a bunch of men and women and shit. Hinduism. Now, if you would have said, which ain't my direct words, unity, but if you would have utilized the words unity, you actually got that right. You see what I'm saying? You actually got that right. But for the most part, it represents the universal being that we are in. So you can utilize the utilize keyword and the word universal for anything. So unity, you know what I'm saying, being united and all that, and all that is going to be back to supported by the universal being that we are in. You know what I'm saying? Hinduism. So that's giving you the universal time. So this is where y'all get them aeons, them type of big, large scales of time from. And when we talk about time, time is just us pinpointing a shape and form and waiting till its expiring date. You see what I'm saying? So for the most part, it's just the calculation of a movement of a body or travel of a body. So whether you're in a body or looking at a body, this is how you calculate time and things of that nature. So you have a body, or you're looking at a body that's externally, that's outside of you, or you're within a body. So for the most part, this is where time comes from. So if you're in a universal time, you're in a universal being. You're in a universal body. You're in a universal person. That's what you need to understand. Otherwise, there will be no such thing as an expiration date when it comes to any type of shape and form. That's what you need to understand. And it's a spirit living in that physical shape and form for it to even have an expiration date in the first place. Otherwise, you wouldn't even experience anything to have a representation of transformation. You see what I'm saying? And transformation is beautiful. That's what you need to understand. So for the most part, universal being or unity, being united, and all things of that nature. And you would have got that motherfucking right. Flight boss, bitch. So I'm going to prepare and we're going to go live tonight. But I'm going to do a few videos before I go live, just kicking some basic knowledge. So y'all can have some answers that y'all might want. Y'all can have some questions that y'all might want answered from the video and things of that nature. And we're going to keep this thing going while I'm up. You know what I'm saying? While I ain't down. You know what I'm saying? While my energy is going up and not down. This motherfucking flight boss, bitch. Goddamn air. Love y'all in this bitch.